Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to UPC Edge YouTube channel. This is Nishana Jumuti, your educator in academy. I'm an economics and current affairs faculty, an economist, teacher, entrepreneur, and YouTuber, having 6 years of teaching experience, and I've taught 60 plus GS batches. And I am the educator in chief for this YouTube channel called as UPSC Edge. And today in this particular video, I'll be discussing as to the important facts that you should know before attempting your UPSC CSE examination. And this is a must watch for all the UPSC aspirants. Before preparing for any examination, we need to understand what it is all about. And now with regard to UPSC examination, which is one of the most prestigious examination of our country, India, I am going to tell you the facts which you should keep in mind before starting your preparation to make sure that you are in the right path or in the right strategy. So here it goes, my young officers. So it is said that before anything else, preparation is the key to success. Very true. And in this particular video, I'm going to talk about the preparation strategies and what are the factors which you should keep in mind while attempting your UPSC CSE examination or before preparing for that. And now it is said that the secret to success it's not just hard work. People think that hard work is the only way you can attain success. But believe me, my young officers, it is not hard work. Hard work plus smart work. That will enable you to have a success in a proper manner. So for that you have to start initially. Think of what you're going to do. Have a proper analysis as to what you're doing is the right step pattern. Have a proper goal, and in that goal you have to have a proper planning as well as to your schedule, timing, etc. Then keep trying for that. So now initially you may not be able to succeed in that, but it's okay. Keep trying, do it again, and keep on doing. So the more and more and more you have consistent in what you're doing, believe me, that will enable you to reach the sky that is none other than success. So now keeping this in mind, let's go to the video, guys. Some of the important things which you should keep in mind before starting your UPSC CSE preparation is I'm going to tell you less than 10 points which you have to keep in mind for a very strategic preparation. Point number one is you should know about the ABCDs of Union Public Service Commission. That is from the scratch. You should know what the examination is all about, because we know that this civil service examination, that is your IAS examination, it is very, very important because it gives you a very prestigious position in the economy, right? Once you clear it. So now you have to know which is the constitutional board or the body who conducts it. So now, and also you should know how often. Now this every year, every year they conduct it, because eventually a candidate has to face the board before the selection. There are 3 phases for a UPSC examination. Phase 1, which is the preliminary stage. Once you qualify that, you'll go to the phase 2, that is the mains examination stage. And after that is the interview stage, the final stage. That is a place where you'll be facing the board for the selection. Thus, it is necessary to know the UPSC board and its member. So just having an understanding of what the background of the examination is all about to make you understand, okay, this is what you're going to really face with. The second important point which you should keep in mind is know the eligibility criteria of the IAS exam. So many students who are completing their schooling and their graduation, they'll have the very big aim of becoming an IAS officer and to serve their country. So now you should know what is the eligibility criteria for that. So that is the aspirant who wishes to become an officer, civil service officer. They should be a graduate in any subject. You can either go for your economics, your history, your literature, your engineering, doctor, medical field, whatever. The whole point is you have to be a graduate in any subject. And now there is something called as age limit. Soon after your 12th, we all know that we cannot apply for this examination. There is an age bar. So you should be between 21 to 32. So the eligible age is once you complete your graduation, you will become 21. So now then you're you can apply for this examination. And if you're a general category, yeah, till 32 you are eligible for that. Now the number of attempts permitted is 6 for a normal candidate. And we all know that with regard to reservations and all, there are some sort of relaxations in the age limit and the number of attempts for the exclusive reserved categories like your OBC, SC, STs, etc. Now you have to figure out in which category you comes. Do you belong to the general category or the reserved categories like OBC and all? So accordingly you can plan your preparations like that because your number of attempts is more there. The next important point is keep an eye on the UPSC notification and dates. And now this is very, very important because we know that every year the UPSC, what do? They start releasing a lot of notifications, take care, which consist of the examination fee, date, scheme, timetable, detailed syllabus and much more. Now, when the UPSC is releasing such kind of notification for the civil service examinations in a year, automatically the candidates, okay, who want to write the examination, they can plan their preparation strategy in a very systematic manner, and also they'll get more time, matlab sufficient time to cover the entire UPSC syllabus, because understanding and covering the entire UPSC syllabus should be the most important part of your preparation, because you should know what you're dealing with, right? You should know what you're going to study about. Just UPSC will not enable you to crack the examination. What is the syllabus? Which are the areas you should focus? You may be strong in some areas and weak in some other areas. So if the syllabus consists of those weak areas, what is the input you have to put forward to overcome the weakness? So to understand the syllabus is very important. And now your preparation, that should be aligned with the UPSC civil service exam cycle, because as I told you initially, there are 3 stages. Your preliminary stages, which is the first stage of MCQ questions. Once you qualify that, you come to your second stage of mains section, where you have a descriptive choices, and finally the interview session, which will enable you to understand whether you are chosen for the examination or not. And thus I would tell you people to have a fixed schedule, like June for prelims, September, October for mains, and April for interview. This is a normal schedule, but this can change depending on the situations of the economy, okay? But this is a normal cycle, and you should be very well aware regarding this schedule as well. So you can prepare yourself accordingly for each of the stages of this examination. Now, talking about the UPSC syllabus, guys, it's very, very important to know what is the syllabus all about. So if you Google, definitely you're going to get the syllabus of UPSC in detail. But just for your understanding, I've just given the syllabus in the picture here. You have something called as GS. What is GS? General Science Paper 1, and CSAT and GS Paper 2. So under GS Paper 1, you have subjects like General Science, then the history of India. So history, geography, normally in your 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th classes you'll be studying. So all the basic stuffs you have. So then you have the Indian world geography, Indian polity and governance, then economic and social development, environment, ecology, biodiversity, etc., etc. In your CSAT and GS Paper 2, this is very important, guys. You have your comprehension, your logical reasoning, analytical ability, interpersonal skills, your basic numeracy, mental ability, data interpretation, decision making, and problem solving. So this is very important, because many of you may not be that good in the CSAT paper, because though you can study the other subjects like history, geography, economics also, coming to the CSAT perspective, it needs a lot of practice. So you have to give a little more attention in solving the CSAT paper, because this is a qualifying paper. Only if you qualify in the CSAT, you'll be able to qualify for this GS Paper 1 as well. So that is very important from the prelims perspective. And the prelims questions, that will be in the form of multiple choice questions. So practicing more and more multiple choice questions is very important as well. Okay? Then once you qualify the prelims, you have the mains. So mains, you have 4 papers, like paper 1, 2, 3 and 4, and each paper they carry 250 marks each. So GS or General Studies Paper 1, they consist of subjects like Indian heritage and culture, which comes under the art and culture, then the history and geography of the world and the society, where you talk about the social issues and all. Then you have paper 2, that is also for same 250 marks. There you can see a load of topics like polity, governance, constitution, IR, that is international relations, social justice, etc. And paper 3 consists of the economic development, technology, environment, security, disaster management, biodiversity, etc. And paper 4 consists of subjects like ethics. So normally ethics is one such subject where people find a little difficult in UPSC, because not much materials and sources are available. So ethics is an important part as well, then followed by integrity and aptitude. Okay, and thus all these 4 papers together carries 1000 marks. Now once you qualify this, you go to this 3rd stage, that is interview ka stage. Now the next important thing which you should keep in mind is regarding the important dates regarding UPSC. So one is regarding the online notification of the Union Public Service Commission, that is when the exam schedule is released. No, once the schedule is released by the board, automatically there will be online application filling, right? So you should know when is the start date and the last date. So within that particular period, you have to fill your application form, etc. So you will be, now we are registered for the examination. So that is very important for you to know the start date and the last date for the application form. Next is the civil service prelims date. When is the examination going to be conducted? So accordingly, you have so many months left. What should be preparation strategy? You can have a very good preparation based on that. And regarding when is the e-card, admit card notification for prelims, when is the mains examination date, regarding mains exam timetable, etc., etc. So now this will enable you to have a systematic approach as to, okay, let's say you have another 6 months for the examination from the date of admit card. So now through that you'll be able to have a very focused preparation. So this is very very important. Take care these three things like notification, start date, last date, and e-admit cards date. This will enable you to boost your preparation in a focused manner. Now, the next important point which you should keep in mind is regarding having a realistic idea about the competition in civil service examination. This is very very important, guys, because if you see, people may think that UPSC is easy, something that UPSC is for faint-hearted people, is not for faint-hearted people. But let me tell you, all these are misconceptions. Okay, UPSC is not for faint-hearted people or for strong-hearted people. All these things are just for the sake of saying. If you really want to appear for UPSC, having a proper analysis of what the examination is all about and having a proper strategy will definitely enable you people to clear the examination. With regarding to having a realistic idea is nothing but very simple. You should have an understanding that this is not an easy task. More than 10 lakh aspirants every year, they do the registration. In that, I can tell you around 4.5 lakhs per year, guys, they take the preliminary examination, the first phase. Out of that, the ones who pass prelims is around, let's say, 12,000. You see, lakhs of people are applying, but only out of that, a less portion is appearing for the examination. Out of that, not even a lakh is passing the examination, but less than that. That is only 12,000. Take care. After that, the ones who pass main, that is also very less. It's just like, let's say, 2,500 per year. And now, those who find mentioned in the rank list after the interview is just 1,000. So, lakhs of aspirants are appearing. But out of that, only thousands at the end of the day come for the appointment perspective. So thus we should understand that 59.5% of the seats, they are reserved. If you belong to the general category, you may need to be in the top 40% guys to ensure a place in the final rank list. So this is a realistic situation of what UPSC. So that is why I told you, understand what category you belong to. The eligibility criteria, whether you are in the general category or OBC, SC, ST. Accordingly, you can ease your preparations. Take care. This is very, very important to understand how important the examination is and how much focus you have to give on that. Now, the next important thing is go through the UPSC previous year question papers. Your previous year question papers is very, very important. Okay, that is going through the previous year question paper. Now, you'll be able to understand this is a way or the pattern in which UPSC is asking questions. So you start studying accordingly. And when you start solving such kind of previous year question paper, totally that makes a difference. You are getting into the pattern, adapting to the pattern. And before starting your preparation, I can tell you that you should have a very thorough understanding of the previous year question papers. And now you should also be able to predict or kind of analyze what are the type of possible questions that UPSC can ask for the prelims examination. So now write down whatever you observe by scanning the question papers, like what type of questions were asked in the previous year. Are there any chances for the same questions to be repeated? What is the importance or weightage given for factual questions, conceptual questions, etc. Because in UPSC you have static plus dynamic questions. That is theoretical part plus current affairs part. So understand, like, is it like from which subject more questions are coming? Is it static perspective or factual perspective or current affairs perspective? So that will enable you to have a better understanding on your preparation as well. You can focus on those subjects accordingly. Take care. And now solving the previous year question paper will give you an idea as to what it is. And also you can take a lot of mock tests available in various offline platforms, online platforms, etc. And now following this approach, guys, believe me, slowly the candidates, they'll develop a skill to predict the questions which may be asked by the UPSC in the prelims or mains examination. That is the past 10-year papers. From that analysis, you understand, okay, these are the possible areas. This is how UPSC can trick you, can ask you questions. You understand? And now, I'm being an MCQ expert for UPSC, guys. You can follow my lectures in Unacademy as well, based on MCQs. So instead of the question answer, I do teach the students with the method of approach called as KEC method. That is called as the method of keyword technique, elimination technique, and comparison technique. It's actually a very tricky method. So you can follow my more lectures to understand what this method is all about. So now, understanding the question from that perspective, automatically you can start predicting the important or the hit list topics for UPSC prelims for the current year. That is an advantage of going through the previous year question papers in a thorough manner. Now, point number 6, what you have to keep in mind is know the right sources to refer. That is very important because we know that in the market, thousands of books are available for UPSC. So you will be thinking that which one to refer. It is said that it is better to refer one book than to refer 1,000 books, because you may not get everything in that 1,000 books and it will put up you in a chaos or a confusion. So now, most of the beginners, okay, matlab the ones who prepare for UPSC, they may have most of the doubts regarding what are the proper study materials to follow and what are the proper study plans. So now I can tell you, or I can suggest you to start in a very systematic, slow and steadily, in a steady manner. Go back to your schools. Why I said go back to school is because to have such a kind of mindset, because start reading your school books of social studies, because NCRT, guys, NCRT is one of the most important topics for UPSC. No matter you are so well aware about the subjects also, NCRT gives you a basic foundation. So study NCRT in a simplified manner, because from 6 to 12, when you have a thorough understanding, majority of your doubts and your concepts will be cleared through that. So it's a very easy task as well, because already in your school you're studying NCRT. I mean, for all the subjects, history, geography, economy, polity, etc. Okay. Now, the next important point, what I will suggest is scribbling is good. You'll be thinking, what is scribbling? Why did ma'am say scribbling? Scribbling matlab, try to make micro notes. You all know mind maps, na? What is mind maps? Making notes. That is truly important. For one particular topic, the connected points, the most important points, you take it up, right? So here, since you're a beginner, start taking chota wala notes. Matlab, these small notes from what you read. So now when you start taking notes, what happens automatically? Your long-term memory retention, that is increasing. Because later, in your later day of preparation, you will need your handwritten notes only for revision. You will not get back to books. Let's say, for example, you're so thorough with the 6 to 12 standard NCERT textbook of all these subjects, history, geography, environment, economy, etc. Now, for the revision perspective, when you come, you cannot again get back to those 6 to 12 standard textbook, right? Whatever notes you prepared out of all the chapters of these textbook, that will enable you to have a better revision. That is why it is said that always go for the mind maps or micro notes for your revision perspective. Now, the next important point is, with regard to the sources you should refer is, know the current world. Current world, here we are talking about the current affairs analysis. Very, very important, because we all know that a UPSC aspirant, for a UPSC aspirant, newspaper reading cannot be omitted. It is a mandatory fact, right? So now make a habit of reading newspaper, but doesn't mean that I'm telling you to read all the newspapers in a day, like the Hindu, the Indian Express, the Mint, the PIB, etc., etc. You should know how to categorize it. You can go for one standard newspaper like the Hindu, okay? And for the other sources, you can go for the highlights of the newspapers, which is available in various websites. So practically, as a human being, as an aspirant who studied before, during my preparation time, I did the same thing. I cannot read 6 newspapers in a day. So I went for a very standard preparation strategy with one newspaper, and the remaining stuff, I went through a lot of online website for the highlights, which is important for UPSC. So now, talking about newspaper reading. We know that it's very difficult and tough to understand and read the newspaper in the early days, right? But we cannot miss it as well. That is there for UPSC. Now, the chances of getting questions from current affairs perspective, that is very, very high with regard to UPSC prelims examination. I can tell you it is high as 40% in prelims. And sometimes up to 20 to 30% of questions now in the mains also come from current affairs perspective. So you may think that what you will read for current affairs. So the sources what I followed for my examination, which enabled me to clear the examination, was at least the first 2 stages was, I went through the Hindu. In Hindu, the editorial is more important. I have done another video, guys, as to how to read the Hindu newspaper, because you have so many pages. How to categorize which pages to be given more importance for UPSC. I have done a video. You can search for that video and follow that, okay? So now, talking about how to read newspaper, read the Hindu, the Indian Express, a standard newspaper. Or if you want to go for Live Mint for datas, well and good, you can go for that as well. It is called as Live Mint, okay? Now, apart from that, watch TV, no problem at all. People may think that when you're preparing UPSC, you should not watch TVs and all. Come on, I will literally suggest you to watch TVs, okay? You can watch the DD News, the big picture of Rajya Sabha TV, listen to the spotlight and news analysis of All India Radio. So this is how usefully you will make use of the TV watching as well. Now, as I told you initially, people may think that when you're preparing for UPSC examination, you should not watch TV, you should not use internet much, vagera, vagera, a lot of misconceptions. Believe me, guys, there is no need for you to stop socializing and stop watching TV when you start your preparation for IAS. All these things are a myth. We are all human beings. We have to socialize with one another to get information from each other. We need to watch TVs, be it entertainment or be it the new useful stuff. So you can redefine it as infotainment ka stuff, information plus entertainment, because we're all human beings. We need both right and left brains to work properly. So come on, practically as a human being, we need to watch TV. And now in TV, for you as for your UPC student, I can tell you which are the sources you have to follow to make it more productive. So the only thing you have to do is nothing but you have to care is to select a peer group which will be helpful for you in your preparation. So some of the TV series, instead of watching your serials and dramas, guys, you can watch that, no problem. But you can even make TV as an important source of your current affairs preparation. Like you can watch the Rajya Sabha TV, Samvidhan, the making of Constitution of India. Then Doordarshan, it's very famous for Bharat Ek Coach. Then your ABP ka news for Pradhan Mantri ABP news. Then again India's World you can watch in Rajya Sabha TV. Science Monitor and Policy Watch and again Rajya Sabha. So all the science based news you get there. So now when you watch all these series, believe me, you start enjoying them. Okay. So and I even bet you guys you will not regret watching these. It's very useful for your preparation. Many of the questions come from especially Rajya Sabha TV discussions. And many of my courses which I am doing, in which I am doing the MCQ series, I take a lot of questions from that as well. And now these programs, if you're following it in a proper manner, believe me, they're going to guide you as well in a better way for your preparation. Now, the next important thing which everybody has in their mind, okay, I have told you all these stuffs, what you should do, how you should start, etc. Now, the next question is, should you go for an offline platform or an online platform, or should you go for self-study? This is a big confusion which arises in the mind of every aspirant. See, whether online coaching or offline coaching, as long as the coaching is good, it is absolutely okay to go with anything you want. It's a individual's perspective. Some people believe in classroom study. Some people feel online is good. Some people feel self-study is good. But let me tell you guys, there are so many variations of that. Good coaching, be it online or offline, guys, they can be of great help to the candidates for proper guidance and knowledge. So the part one which I would like to discuss with you people is with regard to self-study. Self-study is what you're doing by your own, by the help of some online websites, by textbook strategies and all, right? So now you can do it at your home itself in your own comfort zone, and you're not spending any money except the books and for internet. You're not spending any money for that, because when you go to a coaching institute, maybe you end up paying a lot of money there. And there are no time and or space constraints. Whenever you want, you can study. There is no such time as 9 to 5 like offline institute, etc. Now, this kind of self-study, after one point of preparation in your life, after one stage of preparation, when you become a working professional, okay, for those kind of people, I will suggest self-study, and to all those people who feel that the classroom coaching is unnecessary. So these kind of people can go for this. But still, I would suggest that at least once you should either take an online or offline coaching to understand how the system exactly works, and then you can go for self-study perspective, because whether you study online or offline, believe me, self-study is mandatory for the UPSC aspirant to crack the examination. And now while doing self-preparation, you have to keep some things in mind. That is, you if not following systematic approach by referring right IAS books, prelims, mocks exam, etc., automatically one will lose focus. So to make you yourself stay in focus, that is very important. So you need to boost yourself up. A lot of motivation is required. A lot of consistency is required in your preparation. You need to fight against yourself for maintaining the consistency in the preparation. So follow a good strategy. Learn what the toppers did. The toppers of IAS examination, and adopt a test-based approach. So now why a test-based approach is, you will learn faster. That will save your time. It is hard work plus smart work. For example, from prelims perspective, if you practice more and more MCQ series with the right strategy, that is, instead of solving 25,000 or 30,000 MCQs, even if you're solving just 100 MCQs, learn those MCQs with the analysis perspective. That's what I teach my students with the approach of KAC, Keyword Elimination Comparison Technique. So that will enable you to kind of learn faster and have a long-term memory retention, and also take a periodic test, mock test, to evaluate your performance. This is in case of self-study. Next, we have the part 2, that is IAS classroom coaching. This is even wonderful, guys, but the point is that you have to end up paying more. For example, if some people are put up in places where there are no proper facilities available, like the coaching centers, you have to migrate to Delhi. So in that case, your coaching institute fees, which is more than 1 lakh, plus your room rent, your hostel fees, all these things add up a big budget to your life as well. If you are able to afford, well and good. Otherwise, you can go for online platform itself. These days, if you see Unacademy, it's a very big platform for online coachings. The same classroom feeling you get there also, provided you're following in the same, provided you're following the strategy in the right manner. So classroom coaching is not bad, it is really good, because if you ask me personally, I have taken both classroom coaching as well as online coaching. So what I felt is everything has its pros and cons. The whole point is this self study or preparation by your own guys, doing revisions and all the stuff, that is very important, because be it online or offline, that can be only a source of guide for you people. Right, just by going to offline doesn't mean, or going to online doesn't mean 100% success is there. The whole point is how you take it, having a proper guide or a proper mentor who can really motivate you in making sure that you achieve your dream. All these things are also important factors which will enable you to pass the examination. And now, talking about the strategy. So people may think that there are so many strategies out there. See, even I'm a person who takes a lot of strategy classes for students. But if you ask me honestly, I'll say there is no tailored strategy. Strategy for each one differs, because some people prefer studying in a different timetable. Some people prefer studying in a different way. So now there is no such tailored strategy. But then it depends on how you efficiently are able to manage your time and make your plans. Some people study early morning. Some people study late night. So it depends upon the individual perspective, how they grasp it. Whether you study early morning or midday or late night, the whole point is the strategy should be there, in the sense that you are focused on what you do. You are having a proper plan, a proper schedule, and a timetable, and doing on a consistent manner with lot of motivation, with lot of inner confidence and determination. Believe me, the 3 D's in life, that is determination, discipline, and dedication. These 3 D's will enable you to crack anything you want. And also the 3 R. The 3 R is called as read, revise, repeat. This should also be there in your life. And the 3 T's. What are the 3 T's? Techniques, test series, tricks, and textbook. So this will enable you again to have a proper strategy. So these are little tricks which I keep teaching you people in all my sessions. You all know that. So all these tricks and stuffs also enable you to keep up your spirits of clearing the examination. And now another important thing which I'll tell you is that, on a practical note, okay, make your goals very realistic, guys, very realistic, and go for approachable strategy. Only then you can make your dream come true. Otherwise, there is no possibility. I'm very honest with you guys. And thus, as far as hard work is concerned, if you want to climb the top, you have to climb the ladder. You can't just jump like that, because we are not superhumans with some powers. We have superpowers within ourselves. So now, through hard work only you can achieve something. And now in UPSC, hard work plus smart work should be there, because there is no substitute for that. That is why. So never ever hesitate to work hard plus apply your smart work strategy as well. Take care. And now, another important thing is that make your targets very small, so that you'll be able to attain at a time. The meaning of that is, for example, if you want to study, let's say, 2 chapters in a day, as a beginner you may not be able to have a complete attention or focus. So let's keep it as 1 chapter in a day, or let's say half chapter in a day. So day by day keep increasing your commitment. Half chapter in a day you study, do the revision next day, increase that to 1 chapter after 2 to 3 days, do the revision, increase to 2 chapters. You understand? And from 1 hour make it 2 hours, then 3 hours, etc., etc. I will never tell you people to study 12 hours a day. Absolutely ridiculous it is. I have heard many people saying that study for 12 hours continuously. Don't do that. Maximum 8 hours, bus, okay, or 9 hours. That too with the proper physical fitness also. Do yogas, do physical activity, because your right and left brain both should work together. So studying makes you fed up. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So you need to have a proper balance of everything. Okay. So make sure that you are physically also fit enough. Your diet is proper. So automatically a sound, if you want a sound mind, you have to have a healthy body as well. So focus on that as well, and make a study plan which is suitable to you. Thus, there are 5 things you must know before starting your preparation. Before winding up, I would love to say that. One is, whether you are a student or a working professional or a household, you must give your efforts with smartness. The key word here is smartness. That is the tricks, the tips, saving your time in preparation. What are the strategy you should use? That is called a smartness here. Cleverly preparing for the examination, and maintain a consistency. Today you study, tomorrow you study. Maybe for a 1 week you did that. What about the next week? It should be in the same force, with lot of vigor, with lot of thirst of clearing the examination. So that consistency should be there. Only then you'll be able to attain success. And thus, keep this in mind. Nothing other than consistency is the key to success in your UPSC Civil Service examination. So this is what you should do, guys. The important things that you keep in mind before appearing for your UPSC CSE examination. I hope this video helped you in understanding what you should do. and hoping to see all your suggestions and feedbacks via the comment box. If this video really helped you, don't forget to put your valuable feedbacks in the comment box. And these are the various platforms where you can follow me. You can follow me via my Telegram channel called as Nishan Najmuddin and Unacademy for UPSC. And don't forget to subscribe this channel called as UPSC Edge, and also like the video. And the link of my Telegram channel is given below the description box. Also, you can follow me via Unacademy for all the special classes, free special live classes which I do at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. On a daily basis, and also the plus classes, which is a paid version. For getting the plus subscription, very simple, use my referral code UPSC Edge. And these are the various the platforms you can follow me. So I hope you really enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Jai Hind.